Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of What's in Theaters, a show where we talk about movies, movie news, streaming, and do some trailer reactions. I'm your humble host with the most, Jeremy Stone, with a face for radio and a voice for print. So, as you can see, without a doubt, and there's an Ed 209 right there, I'm a RoboCop fan. Loved it ever since I was, 7 or 8 when I first saw it in VHS. Yes, VHS. If you're young, you might not know what that is, but it's pre-DVD. Um, Good news. Not a remake, not another reboot, but something. Show some love. Show some love. RoboDoc, Screenbox boots up comprehensive RoboCop docu-series in 2023. Huge exciting news this morning as Cinema did, whatever that is, and Blade discussing are together uh, booting up the highly anticipated four-part docu-series RoboDoc, The Creation of RoboCop, as a Screenbox original. First announced by Deadline this morning, it will premiere exclusively on our Screenbox streaming service as well as digital video on demand early next year. Now, I have never heard about Screenbox. I've heard of Shudder, the horror streaming service, but Screenbox, I have never seen any advertisements, nothing for it at all. 5 years in the making, RoboDoc, the creation of RoboCop, takes an in-depth look into the creation of the groundbreaking franchise and features new interviews with cast and crew, including Hollywood icons such as Peter Weller, Diane Robin, Ronnie Cox, Nancy Allen, Ray Wise, and director Paul Verhoeven, and more. Now, I always love, this just gets me so damn excited because after the abysmal dumpster fire that was RoboCop 2014, the horrible reboot or remake, whatever it was, I was like, man, they just crapping on this franchise. Because if you were to ask me as a RoboCop fan, the franchise as a whole, is it a positive or a negative? Honestly, I would have to say it's a negative, because you have the original one, which is gold standard masterpiece of cinema. 2, Peter Weller was good, but there's so many questions I had that were never answered, and it just became like a mindless robot versus robot action film. 3, EU. 3 was abysmal. I mean, cannon arm, telling Ed 209, he'll be as loyal as a puppy. Fuck. Okay. Then you had the 4-part Canadian series, the Prime Directives 4-part Canadian series. Yeesh. The 1992, 1993, the 23 episode Canadian TV series RoboCop, that actually wasn't all that bad. Not great, but leaps and bounds beyond the Prime Directive series. And then you had RoboCop the animated series, RoboCop Alpha Commando, and then you get the 2014 one, and it was not RoboCop. It was cyborg policeman, robot dad in suit, but it was not RoboCop. It did not have the heart and soul of RoboCop. So then there was always talks about, oh, maybe they'll make was it RoboCop Returns, which is supposed to take 25 years 25 or take place 25 years past the original and kind of ignore everything 2 and beyond. Like this would be the new number 2. How Halloween 2018 was the new number 2. It kept the original, but everything 2 and beyond was like Elseworlds. Same thing with like Terminator Dark Fate. It kept 1 and 2, and 3 beyond became Elseworlds, and Dark Fate was the new number 3. So kind of rejiggering the timeline, but this kind of gives me faith because at least this legendary franchise isn't dead. So hopefully, if there's a lot of demand on it, it could kind of move, like the studio could look, because I think Amazon owns MGM now, which owns RoboCop. They might be like, hey, video on demand actually did fairly respectable. Maybe there's still a hunger for RoboCop. Good RoboCop, by the way. Let's continue. Part man, part machine, all caught. RoboCop burst onto the scene in the late 1980s As the cinematic landscape began to shift, robots and artificial intelligence were making their way into the public consciousness, and their stories captured the world's imagination. This popularity helped the franchise gross over $100 million in the box office while inspiring a pair of sequels as well as an animated television series and merchandise. Hailed as one of the best action movies of the 1980s by Collider, RoboCop pushed boundaries as a thriller with shots of brutality and torture in the opening scene. The dystop this the dystopian satire came to life by Ed Neumeyer while working on the set of Blade Runner with Rob Bottin, the Fog, The Thing. I mean, he was like the practical effects artists, and he created the RoboCop suit, handling the special effects, which included practical effects, the violent gore, and the infamous RoboCop suit. Produced by Gary Smart, an award-winning filmmaker known for the Dark Deities series and You're So Cool, Brewster, the the story of Fright. I have never heard of that. The doc is directed by Chris Griffin and Eastwood Allen, who previously collaborated with Smart on Pennywise, the story of it. The docu-series looks back at the groundbreaking sci-fi franchise through the eyes of those who created it. RoboDoc, the creation of RoboCop, shows the franchise's impact on the action and science fiction genres, blazing a trail alongside the Terminator and into the technologically driven cinemascape we see today. The impact is still being felt as the 2014 remake of RoboCop grossed over $240 million at the box office. I remember that film came out, I believe, on Valentine's Day of 2014, 2/14/14. And I remember seeing when I went into my AMC theater, they had this IMAX cardboard stand of the 2014 RoboCop. And it was like this, and the coloring was red and black lines, and it said "Prime Directive: Serve the public, trust, protect the innocent, uphold the law." And I was like, "Oh crap! Okay, like I didn't see that in anything alluded to that in the trailers, but okay, wasn't even in the freaking movie. What? How do you do that?" Ugh. Anyways, let's go back to the article. RoboCop is not only a technological icon, but a film that pushed boundaries with its practical effects and exclusively violent gore. Yeah, I remember when it was turned into the MPAA, which is the MPA now, but at the time it was the MPAA. They gave it an X rating because of its violence. Oh, all right, let's tone it down. Said Brad Miska, managing director of Blade Disgusting. Much of what we see on screen today can be credited to the innovative minds of the 70s and 80s. We're thrilled fans will finally be able to see the story behind it. RoboDoc, the creation of RoboCop, on Screenbox next year. And it just kind of goes on. Nothing too crazy, but if you have ever seen the original RoboCop, you know one of the most gruesome scenes is Alex Murphy's death scene. His hand gets blown off. Let me see. Put it on my ugly mug. Oh wait, I don't need that back. His hand gets blown off, and his arm gets blown off, and his head gets blown off. Here's the thing: in the rated R version, you never see that arm get blown off. And what's floating around, if you want the true, I mean truly unrated version of RoboCop, you're going to actually want this. This is the Criterion Collection. This is an extended, basically all it really does is extend Ed 209's boardroom scene with Mr. Kinney, who's like, and then Mr. Kinney's like on the Delta City model, but it extends it for a couple seconds, but it really shines. This is also what it looks like on this the DVD. It extends the hand being blown off, like you get a different angle, and you actually see his arm getting blown off. And the first time I saw it, I was like, "Oh my effing god!" And violence really never affects me that much, but seeing that was quite shocking. Now, I'm going to nerd out a little bit. There's kind of like three versions. There's the rated R version, the theatrical version. There's the Criterion Collection, which is the unrated footage with the unrated audio. This is the reason I bring this up. The unrated versions that came out in the 20th, the 20th anniversary Steelbook collection has the rated and unrated version. The problem with the unrated version is that it has unrated footage with, you know, the arm getting blown off, but it has rated audio, I think the rated R audio. So there's a syncing issue, because when Peter Murphy gets his arm blown off, he reacts, and then in the Criterion collection, he automatically screams. In the unrated version, he'll look at it, go, and then he'll start screaming. There's a gap, and the screams are different. I'll try to, if I can find it, link. Someone did a breakdown of that death scene and how the audio is different and all the different versions. If I can find it, I'll link it in the description box. But as a huge Robo nerd, I love this. I think this is so freaking awesome. I can't wait to get it. I'm gonna rent it as soon as I'll probably even buy it. I don't care if it's 40 or 50 bucks. I will get this thing. It's a good day to be a Robo fan. Anyways, comment down section below. Let me know your thoughts. And as always, take care and take it easy.